Welcome. Thank you for joining today. My name is Melissa, and I'm here to lead you through all levels yoga. So we will practice together today for 45 minutes. Just a reminder to listen to your body. If any stretches don't work for you, skip them, come on out and modify. And things that you'll need for your class today is it can be nice to have your yoga mat, a block and a blanket can be nice to gently support the practice. Of course, if you don't have one, we can definitely work that around that throughout the class, but it can be nice just to have those as props. And I was thinking today, as we practice, we could do a nice full body flow. So just release tension that may have been building up throughout the day and just work for a really nice full body stretch. I love that yoga is so great for that stretching. It helps us to create more flexibility, helps us to build strength. And my favorite benefit is it helps us relax. So we'll try to work all of that into our time together today. So as we start, I'd love to work a little bit with earth salutations. So these salutations are very grounding and they really help to calm the nervous system. So as we come into these today, we're going to start in child's pose for centering. And as we start here in centering, you can grab a little blanket to pad the knees. Knees can be together and you can also take your big toes apart as well. So maybe big toes touch and then knees away from one another. And that's just going to give you a little different stretch. That'll be more of a hip stretch and a leg stretch. And then the knees are together is more of a back stretch. And since this is at the beginning of our practice, this might feel more like an active stretch. You may feel a nice deep stretch in this one. Just try to find a bit of softness. And, as we begin, feel free to move around a little bit. Sometimes gentle shifting of the weight to the right or the left, or shifting through the hands, just to get out any wiggles that you have in the body. And just let those muscles soften a bit here. So giving ourselves some time to center, this gives us that opportunity to drop into the yoga practice. And just simply releasing the day so far. So whatever the day has been, just knowing that's in the past. And we always have our opportunity to start fresh and new. And this is a perfect opportunity just to begin again. So on your exhale, maybe just feel the hips gently lowering to your heels. Feel your heart gently lower it to the ground. And then take some nice deep full breaths here. So the breath may feel a little constricted because there may be a bit of pressure on the stomach from the tops of your legs, but really just try to find softness in the pose as best as you can. As you breathe, maybe you can feel an expansion through the sides of your body and then through the back of your body. So breathing into the stomach, maybe feel the expansion in your low back. As you breathe again, maybe feel that expansion through your ribs. So through those back ribs, look at that nice, good stretch. And then behind the heart, feel that expansion in the back body. If you'd like, set an intention for your time on the mat. And intention could be anything that you'd like. It might be that you would like to relax and to give back to yourself a bit today. It could be that you're holding tension and you want to release that. Let's get started with those earth salutations. So we're going to begin to float into table from here. And each one will be a little different. So this is, as I mentioned, a nice grounding practice, can be very soothing to the nervous system. And it's also a very nice heart opening practice. So we will work with different back bends each time that we come into one so that the spine is really open. So when we move through the practice today, we do those deeper back bends, the back will be quite open. So let's get started up on our knees. Take a nice full breath in, hands to the sky, reach and stretch up. And float it into child's pose. So gently draw your hips to your heels and let your heart float down. Core engages. Ripple forward through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And moving into Sphinx from here. So we'll take a reverse push-up. Try to keep your arms into the sides of your body and try to help your elbows run straight back. Hands can come out in front. Let's bring our elbows in line with our shoulders. Feel the fingers stand nice and wide here. Maybe reach for opposite arms just to make sure elbows aren't too far from one another. Holding this one, maybe lifting up. So hands press down, elbows lift up, elbows can wrap in, and then maybe gently wrapping those elbows in towards one another a little bit. Arms can straighten. We're going to maybe work with a seal variation. So I love this background because we get 3 different options. So everyone can figure out, what really works for them in their body. Let's take ourselves down to the mat. Nice full breath here. Let's lift into a down dog as you exhale. So as you take your downward facing dog, let's begin to shake it out a little bit. So maybe bending one knee and bending the other knee and relaxing your head yes and relaxing your head no. Knees will begin to soften. Let's take our hips to our heels and exhale back and through to a child's pose. Rising up, let's come back to that knee down mountain. So standing right up onto the knees, hands to the sky and hands at your heart. So that was one complete earth salutation. Hands to the sky, breathing in. Let's come on down, child's pose, breathing out. Bring it forward, ripple forward through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And moving into a cobra pose from here. So I'll take that reverse push up. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, glue the tops of your feet down, and lifting up to your navel, hug your arms into the sides of your body. Let your elbows run straight back. And almost create a little sensation like you could lift your hands from the mat. So really try to channel that mid-back strength. This one is good for strengthening the mid-back, which can be a little bit trickier part of the back to strengthen and get to. It's easy to get to that low back and upper back. So this one's great for that mid-back. Let's bring ourselves down to the mat. Full breath in here. Let's begin to lift back to down dog on exhale. And shaking it out again. So bend one knee and bend the other knee. Relax your head yes. Relax your head no. Knees begin to soften. Hips to the heels, child's pose. Coming on up. Let's breathe in, rising up, mountain. Hands at the heart, breathe out. Great, let's try another. Hands to the sky, inhale. Take it down, child's pose. Float yourself forward. Let's bring it into that knee down plank position. Lower all the way down to the mat. Let's take our arms alongside the body and palms will face down. Begin to lift the legs, lift the torso, feel the arms lift up. Try to open the chest and the heart here. Try to relax your shoulders back and down. Feel yourself breathing. So as you inhale, feel yourself lifting up, moving deeper into the back bend. And with the exhale, feel the body find a little softness in the pose. Bring yourself down to the mat. Take a nice full breath here. Let's begin to lift on up. Downward facing dog. Knees will begin to lower. Hips to the heels. Heart softens down. Child's pose. Come on up. Let's rise. Mountain on the knees. Hands at the heart for a breath out. Let's try one more. Hands to the sky. Breathe in. Child's pose, come on down. Let's float it forward, knee down plank position. Moving into King Cobra, lower down to the mat. Hands under the shoulders. Walk your hands off to the sides of the mat. So a foot on one side and a foot on the other side. Be right up on your fingertips. Try to have your elbows point to the sky. Glue the tops of your feet down. Pubic triangle glues down, and then lifting up as high as you'd like. So to make this pose easier, hands are going to be further from your body. Have a bend in your elbows. Make it more challenging. Hands will be in closer to your body. Arms will be straighter. Let's float ourselves down. Nice full breath here. Press it back. Let's bring it to down dog when you're ready. Knees will begin to lower. Hips to heels, child's pose. Rising up, full breath in, come up onto your knees. Hands at the heart as you exhale. Fantastic. Let's come forward to that downward facing dog. Lifting to that down dog, and then toes to the hands for your forward fold. Now, as you take your fold, let's begin to shake it out a little bit here. So maybe bend one knee and then the other knee. Relax your head, yes, and relax your head no. Now, if the ground is feeling far away, maybe have your hands on blocks for support. You can also take a very deep bend in the knees too if that's needed. As you come into stillness, let's bring our hands to the right side, stretch here. Ground evenly through both of your feet, inside and outside of each foot. Back to center, hands to the other side. Reaching and stretching from the waist, lengthen the side body, the arm, and the fingertip. Bring yourself back to center to a forward fold. Half lift here, lift your spine and lengthen your spine. Fold yourself down. Let's come on up. We'll rise, finding a mountain pose, full mountain here. And hands at the heart as you exhale. Bringing your hands up and overhead. Let's take that right hand and reach for the left wrist. Now crossing your legs, take your left foot to the right. So your left leg behind and then right leg in front. Hands to the right and almost create a little sensation like you could pull that left hand to the right side of the room. So just really lengthening here. Float yourself back and up. We'll keep our legs just how they are. Change up the grip in the hands and release up towards the left. Feel your right hip pressing to the right and just notice if that helps you move a little deeper into the stretch. Let's take ourselves back to center. We'll do a release on the hands, release on your feet. Hands to the sky. Let's breathe here. Left hand for your right wrist and right foot to the left. Let's float those hands off towards the left and ground evenly through both of your feet. Press through the inside and then the outside of each foot. And back to center. Let's change up the grip in the hands. Releasing to the left. Breathe so deeply here. Almost imagine that you could create a little bit of space in between the ribs. Let's bring ourselves back to center. We'll release on the hands. We'll do a reset on our feet, coming into Yoga Mudra here. So fingers will interlock, palms will touch, maybe square off the wrists rather. Palms can come together as well. Imagine that you could squeeze a pencil between the shoulder blades. Standing up, option to fold forward on exhale. Try to relax the fronts of your shoulders. And just noticing if that helps you move deeper into the shoulder stretch. Hands can release onto your low back. Float your hands down towards the ground. Let's plant those hands and right foot steps back. Let's bring ourselves into a runner's lunge here. So right foot floats back. Begin to bend and straighten your front leg. We're just going to find a little bit of a rhythmic flow here. As you exhale, feel the leg straightening. As you inhale, feel the knee bending. Bending into your left knee, springing off of your right foot. Let's come into a warrior 3 pose. We'll come into our balancing warrior. So our trick with balancing is to find a drishti, find that one spot to focus your concentration, to focus your awareness. And once you find that spot, not letting the eyes shift at all. Let's bring ourselves back to runner's lunge. Straighten your front leg and fold forward. And feel your spine relax. Try to let go of tension through the back of your head and the back of your neck. Left knee bends. Spring it forward. Warrior 3. Feel really grounded through all the parts of your left foot. So we'll press through the inside, through the outside. And noticing your body's natural tendency, if you tend to roll in or out. Runner's lunge. Straighten your front leg. Let's fold it over back through to that runner's stretch. Try to see if you can relax your head a bit more. So a lot of times we think our head is relaxed, but we're holding a bit of tension there. So with each exhale, just let your head relax and release. Left knee bends, left hand rise. Let's bring ourselves into a runner's twist here. And then as you twist, on the in-breath, feel your spine lengthen. On your out-breath, allow for your twist to deepen. Floating your hand down, core engages. Let's bring ourselves through into warrior 3 pose. Finding your focal point and imagine that you can balance a block on your low back. So we're going to try to feel that our low back is nice and even. Let's take a 2 runner's lunge from here. So we'll bring our right foot back, right heel lowers. We'll take those hands to the sky. Ground so firmly into your feet. So we'll press nice and firmly into that back foot. Ground into your heel, the outer edge of your foot. Give yourself a calf stretch. Give yourself a hamstring stretch. Let's bring our hands together for steeple. So fingers will interlock and release the index fingers. Working into a bit of a back bend here. So let's begin to open the chest and the heart forward. We'll feel our fingertips point back. Try to relax the shoulders back and down. Core engages, come on through. We'll float ourselves into a runner's lunge. We'll take our right foot to the left side of the left foot, coming into a fold with the legs crossed. Line your toes up, line your heels up. Fold over the fronts of the legs as you exhale. Now maybe shift your weight to the right or to the left. And just seeing if that gives you a little different stretch in your body. Let's begin to unwrap the legs, floating yourself to a fold. Left foot comes back, runner's lunge. Begin to bend and straighten your front leg. So as you flow here, just being so mindful of the right knee. Make sure that your right knee doesn't extend past the right ankle. If that's happening, bring a bit more distance between your front foot and your back foot. Let's come on through. Runner's lunge, warrior 3. So while taking warrior 3, there are so many options with your hands. Maybe have your hands at prayer at heart. Maybe arms alongside your body, palms face down, and maybe hands reach and stretch in front of you. Float it back, runner's lunge. Straighten your front leg, fold it over. Now, if you'd like to experience more stretch in the pose, bring your left hip forward, pull your right hip crease back, and that will just change up the stretch. You might get a little bit more calf stretch on the right side. You might get a stretch into the muscles on the side of your right leg and the lower parts. Right knee bends, come on forward. Warrior three, we call this one Virabhadrasana tree. Imagine if you could see yourself from the side, try to create a capital T shape in your body. So we want to create this long line of energy from right heel to right hip, and then long line from left heel to crown of the head. Runner's lunge. Straighten your front leg, fold it over. Another nice way to deepen the stretch is to bring more weight into your right foot. So that's just going to help to lift that right hip up, helping to balance off the hips and then balance off through the low back. Right knee bends, right hand rises. Let's twist, runner's twist. Really activate that back leg. So press firmly through the heel, back of the knee. Leg is active, engaged, energized. Runner's lunge, floated forward, and warrior three pose. So as you take warrior three, allow for that neutral gaze right down to the ground. So try to lengthen the back of your neck. Try not to crank your head too much forward or back. Warrior one. Hands to the sky. Let's take a nice full breath to rise into Virabhadrasana Eka. Feel the hips and shoulders square forward here. So encourage that left hip forward, left shoulder forward, right hip back, and right shoulder back. Hands into steeple, fingers interlock, release index. Let's take a nice full breath here to lengthen and then encourage your back bend. So try to just work those arms back a little bit. Try to open up the chest and the heart. Broaden your collarbones. Float yourself back on through. Warrior one. Hands to the earth. Runner's lunge. Left foot takes that big step to the upper right edge of your mat, bringing yourself into a fold with your legs crossed. Line your toes up, line your heels up. Fold over the fronts of the legs as you exhale. To relax your head a bit more, maybe look up to your navel. Let your head hang heavy. Give yourself a breath in and out here. Unwrap your legs, find your forward folds. Maybe shake them out a little bit. Give those hamstrings, cast a nice little stretch, warm them up a bit more. Find stillness. Let's take a half lift here. Lift the spine and lengthen the spine. Let's fold ourselves down. We're going to come on up, rising into a mountain pose and drawing the hands at the heart space as you exhale. From here, we'll work with chair pose, Utkatasana. So either your feet are in line with your hips. Sometimes people really like to bring the insides of their feet together. So it really just depends on what feels good for your knees. Let's imagine that there was a chair behind us. We wanted to sit back into hands to the sky. So on this one, try to draw your weight into your heels. We want to feel that our toes are light and almost a feeling like our toes could lift from the mat. Now from here, we're going to come forward into balancing chair pose. So we're going to rise right up into our tippy toes. Try to lift your heels off of the mat as best as you can. And your heels don't actually have to come together to touch, but imagine like you could squeeze them into a tennis ball. So just try not to have them moving out to the sides of the room too much. Now from here, we are going to lower our left heel down onto the mat. And then right foot takes a step back for a crescent warrior. So right foot back, right heel is lifted. We'll bring our hands right on up to the sky. Really activate the right leg. So you want to press nice and firmly through the heel and the back of the knee. Try to feel that your leg is active, engaged, and energized. Now, springing off your back foot, let's kick that right leg out in front of us. So we'll just try to bring our heel in line with our hip. We're going to pulse it down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, And one. Let's take it to warrior two from here. So front heel in line with back arch, shoulders over your hips. Feel your hands reach forward and feel your hands reach back. Reverse, let's bring it up and bring it back. Try to keep that deep bend in the front knee. Body's natural tendency is to straighten the leg a little bit. Windmill down, we're gonna take it down to a lateral angle, float it forward. And maybe extend the lateral angle here. Maybe lower the hand down to the mat for a little bit more stretch. Try not to collapse into the bottom shoulder. Let's lift and lengthen here. Core engages, rise on up. Straighten your front leg, front hand up, back, or reverse triangle stretch. Come on through, back to warrior two. Windmill your hands down, runner's lunge. Take your right leg to the sky. Let's bring it into standing splits pose. So as you take standing splits, maybe look to the wall that's behind you. Maybe take your gaze to the ceiling up behind your body. Working with a seated twist transition. Let's take our right foot to the left. So a lot of times, the more space between the feet, the easier the transition is. You can turn yourself right onto the top of your right foot. So you'll just have the top of your toes touching the ground. Now bring your weight forward into your hands and into your left foot. You'll feel that right knee moving to the outside of your left foot. Now we'll have some space here on the right to sit down so the right hand can guide you down to seated spinal twist. This one is Ardha Matsyendrasana. Now, if your knees are sensitive, especially that bottom one, if it's a bit tight, feel free to straighten out your leg and you can take the half twist here. Working with our open twist, hands to the sky, breathe in. Let's twist to the right, breathe out. So this one might be a little easier. Really gives us that nice opening in the front of our body. With your in-breath, feel your spine lengthen. On your out-breath, let your twist deepen. Hands to the sky, let's breathe in, reach up, stretch up, and hands to the left. We'll try out our closed twist. And that right arm can wrap on your left leg. You can also take your arm in front of your knee if you'd like. Give yourself a little deeper twist. Let's take ourselves back to center, hands to the sky, full breath here. Hands at the heart for a full breath out. Now let's take ourselves back to standing splits. So you can play a little bit with the weight in the body. Take your weight forward into your hands, draw your weight into your left foot, and then sweep your right leg up to the sky. So float ourselves back into our standing splits pose. Take your right foot to meet your left foot, fold it down, shake it out here, bend your knees. Take yourself to your halfway lift. Float yourself down to the mat. Let's lift into chair Utkatasana. So weight back into the heels. Toes are light. So almost is feeling like those toes could lift from the mat. Good. We're going to come back on up onto our tippy toes. And having those heels lift as high as you can for balancing chair pose. Maybe imagine that you could squeeze a tennis ball in between your heels and maybe a tennis ball in between your knees as well. Let's lower that right heel down. Left foot will stay lifted. We're going to step it back into our crescent warrior. Crescent is such a great pose. It brings so many positive benefits to our body. We really get a wonderful quad stretch. We get a nice stretch in front of the hip here. All of those muscles, they shorten when we're sitting. So it really helps to create a bit more balance in the front and the back of the body. Springing off your left foot, let's kick that left leg right out in front. We'll try to take it in line with our hip. We're going to do our pulses down, 10 total. So 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warrior two pose. Let's open it up. Feel the hands reach forward, reach back, and let your shoulders relax from your ears. Reverse warrior two, peaceful warrior two. Try to feel the palm of your right hand facing down towards the ground. Core engages, let's bring it on up. Lateral angle, float it down. Maybe work with extended lateral angle if you'd like. Maybe bring your hand down to the mat for a little bit more stretch. Rising up, float it. Warrior two, we're gonna straighten that front leg. Front hand up, back, reverse triangle. Warrior two, reset. Let's windmill the hands down. We're gonna take it down to our runner's lunge. Left leg rises, standing splits. And then as you take your splits pose, let's set up for our seated spinal twist. Left foot moves to the right. Come right onto the top of your left foot. Bend into your knees. Your left knee moves to the right side of your right foot. Space to sit down here on the left. So use that left hand to guide you down. Let's even it off as well. So you may want to lift up and scoot your left hip to the left a little bit. Try to feel that your right foot is planted. This looks similar to another pose where you're on the edge of your foot, but for our seated twist, we want that right foot to be nice and grounded. Straighten out that bottom leg if you need to. Hands to the sky. Let's take open twist to the left on exhale. And we're going to open the chest and the heart here. Broaden your collarbones. Relax your shoulders back and down. Core engages. Let's take ourselves back on through. Hands to the sky, releasing to the right. And release. Back through to neutral. Hands to the sky, breathe in. Hands at the heart, breathe out. Let's bring ourselves forward. We'll try out that standing splits transition again. So weight into your hands, weight into your right foot, left leg to the sky. Take that time to square your hips off and to square your shoulders off. Let's bring that left foot to meet our right foot in a forward fold. Maybe bending the knees, relax your head yes, and relax your head no. Plant your hands, let's float ourselves into plank, high push-up. Moving into an up dog here, so knees can lower if you need to modify. Knees can also stay lifted. Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog. So let's take a moment here to open the chest and the heart. We're gonna lift to down dog when you're ready. And knees will begin to lower. Let's bring our hips down to the mat. So sweep your feet to the right or the left. We'll come into a seated position. Now, as we come into seated, I wanted to take a little time to work on our legs and our hips. So I would love to demo a pose really quickly, and then I'll walk you through it slowly step by step because alignment is really important, especially in the second part. So for this one, we are going to take a pose called reclining pigeon. And the nice thing with this one is you can definitely modify. So you can stay here, reach for the back of your leg, reach for the front of your right leg, maybe both of your arms around both of the legs. So we'll be in this one for a few moments. Second part of the stretch, take your right leg to a 90-degree angle. Now everything's gonna drop off to the right side of your mat. And you can press nice and firm into your left foot. Maybe lift your right hip up, scoot that right hip under you and off to the left a little bit. If you wanted the stretch to be more intense, your left knee can press away from the face. If you want it to be more intense, your right knee can draw up towards the face. So let's give that one a try out together. We'll just go through it nice and slow and we'll hold that first part a little while. Let's bring our right leg up and over to start. So right leg up and over. Now this is our figure 4 reclining pigeon. So decide where you want to go. Foot can stay on the ground, maybe reach for the front of your leg or the back of your leg. And you can also take both of the arms around both of the legs. We can just settle in here for a moment. So maybe close your eyes. Feel free to maybe rock side to side, maybe find stillness here. And then as you are in this pose, if you wanted to activate more muscles in your body, you could flex your feet. That would just activate more muscles. You can feel the right knee press away from your face if you wanted. And your right knee, you could actively press it away. So bringing the hand into the knee to press it away, or just energetically sending it away from your face. Good. Now let's bring ourselves into the second part of the pose. So we'll be in our reclining pigeon. Take your left leg into a 90-degree angle. Now everything is going to drop to the left side of your yoga mat. Now your right foot is going to be firmly planted on the ground, so you can press that foot down, maybe lift your left hip up, and then scoot your left hip under you a little bit just to get a little bit more grounding in the pose. And then your left knee that's on the ground, you can slide it up towards your face if you'd like. Now you can also take your right hand into that right knee, and you could press that right knee away from your face. That's the knee that's in the air. And then the knee that's on the ground, which is our left knee, you can slide that knee up the yoga mat towards your face a little bit. I always feel like this one's a little bit like Twister, so many rights and lefts and different angles, but this is such a good stretch. It's really good for your hips and your legs, and a fantastic stretch for your IT band. And, we all are going to feel the pose a little differently. So maybe in your own body, you just simply notice where you feel the stretch, what that feels like. Know that it's not going to last forever. So, you can hold it for a little bit. You can tap into your breath and just let that guide you and soothe the intensity in the stretch. Let's begin to unwrap the pose. We're going to reset back onto our back. And then take your left leg up and over. So we'll find figure four on the other side. And remember where you can go with this one. So you have a lot of different options. And then when you're in your variation, you could move around a little bit. You could find some stillness here. I find that sometimes a little rock side to side can feel really soothing on my back. There's all these little muscles and little attachments that connect to different bones, and just giving a little weighted pressure side to side and just give them a nice little massage. If you wanted to activate legs more, flex your feet, encourage the left knee away from your face. Working with the second part of the stretch, let's bring our right leg to 90-degree angle, and then everything drops off to the right side of the mat. We can press nice and firm into that left foot. Maybe lift your right hip up and scoot your right hip under you to the left side of your yoga mat. Now we have that left foot planted nice and firmly. We can press the left knee away from the face for more stretch. And you can take the right knee, the knee that's on the ground, you can glide that towards your face for more of a stretch. And we can just be with our bodies here. So it's very interesting when we compare the different sides of our bodies. So notice maybe this is giving you a bit more stretch. This might be a little easier for you. One of the most beautiful gifts that yoga gives us is that connection to our body. And it's so powerful. Sometimes if we're not connected to our body, if we have a little injury, we may not even notice it. And then we can go on to hurt ourselves. It can turn into a bigger injury. But a lot of times I find with yoga, people really connect with their bodies. Then we have those little things that show up. You're just more aware. You go to the doctor sooner, or you're doing exercises and you know to back out of stretches, you know not to push yourself. And that really helps us stay injury-free and pain-free, which is such a great space to be in. Let's begin to release this stretch. We'll come back onto our back. Feet come out wide to the edges of your yoga mat and drop your knees to the right and the left. We'll do a windshield wipe side to side. And coming into stillness, let's relax our legs, relax our arms, giving ourselves a little time here in Shavasana. This is our resting pose of our practice. So if you wanted to, you can have your palms face up, gentle rotation in the shoulders. Feel the hands in an expression of receiving. Legs can be straight, maybe feet are planted, knees are bent. And just giving yourself this time to integrate all of the benefits of the practice into the mind and body. Feel your breath deepening. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Roll onto your side. Fetal position. Nice transition pose here. Pressing into seated. And as you take seated, sit in any position that feels comfortable. Maybe cross your legs. Maybe extend the legs out in front if you'd like. Hands at the heart in Anjali Mudra in prayer. Ending practice with gratitude. Thinking of something in your life that you are truly grateful for. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining. It's wonderful to be here with you. I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.